This is Khuzestan, a petroleum-rich and ethnically diverse province of southwestern Iran. For 3 decades, it's experienced bloody attacks carried out by armed insurgent groups known collectively as the Al-Ahwazis.
الأحواز حرة عربية وستكون بإذن الله مستقلة بسواعدكم.
They are communist, nationalist, socialist, and Salafi groups whom, despite ideological and nominal differences, are united around one goal and one strategy: to topple the government and to separate Khuzestan from the rest of Iran through armed conflict. They were born in 1980, soon after the Islamic Revolution in Iran. They were inspired by the ruling Ba'ath regime in neighboring Iraq at the time. They had already carried out a series of attacks in the province even before Saddam unleashed his military on Iran, a country fresh from the throes of revolution that toppled the Shah. Soon after the war broke out on September 1980, the Iraqi army occupied parts of Khuzestan and advanced to an area 15 kilometers from the city of Ahwaz, the provincial capital. The Al-Ahwazis, known in Iran as the Khalq Arab, launched bomb and short-range mortar attacks inside the city to facilitate a takeover by the invading Iraqi army. 16,000 residents of Khuzestan died during the war that lasted for 8 long years, 12,000 of them ethnic Arabs. A heavy price to pay for Saddam's paranoid perception of the ethnic realities in Iran. Hashim Shabani Nejad was a master's student in political science at Ahwaz University. He's a member of the Al-Mughawamatul Sha'biyya, an armed terrorist group linked to the Al-Ahwazi. He told us about their relations with Saddam's Ba'athist regime.
بعد از اینکه انقلاب اسلامی به پیروزی رسید، آقای صدام حسین الجبهه العربیه لتحریر الاحواز رو در عراق تشکیل داد که این الجبهه العربیه لتحریر الاحواز خط مشی نظامی در جهت تجزیه کردن خوزستان رو به عنوان خط مشی اصلی خودش تلقی می‌کرد.
After the overthrow of their godfather Saddam Hussein, the Al-Ahwazis faced a serious predicament. Desperate for support, they now had to look beyond the borders of Iraq. And in the distance, they saw 2 allies, Hosni Mubarak in Egypt and Muammar al-Gaddafi in Libya.
بعد از اینکه آقای صدام حسین از قدرت به واسطه آمریکایی ها برکنار شد، بیشتر گرایش های جنبش های خلق عرب و تجزیه طلب به سوی مصر متوجه شد و چنانچه آقای عادل سویدی و دیگر دوستانی که در سازمان حزم فعالیت داشتند در گرد همایا و همایش‌های مختلفی در مصر شرکت می‌کردند و حتی تونستند تا حدودی بعضی از امتیازها در چارچوب انتشار نشریه یا فعالیت‌های دیگر رو ادامه بدن.
The Al-Ahwazi groups have committed numerous crimes against Iranian targets in the past 30 years, among them bomb attacks in public places, abductions that led to murder, assassinations, kidnapping for ransom, shooting at tourists, and blowing up oil pipelines. Thousands of people have been killed or injured as a result of their actions. Taha Haydarian is a member of a team of 8 gunmen who gripped Ahwaz with fear when they opened fire with machine guns in the streets of the city on one fateful night. We sat down with them for an account of what they did.
8 نفر بودیم. 4 تا کلاش داشتیم، 2 تا کلت. تقسیم میشیم به 3 گروه، بعد حرکت میکنیم. رسیدیم به خیابان تعاون. دیدیم یه ماشین پلیس وایساده. تفنگا مسلح کردن، شلیک کردن به سوی مورا. بعد بدو سوار موتور شدیم و فرار کردیم.
One law enforcement officer was killed and 4 civilians injured by the bullets fired from Haydaryan's AK-47. We went to see the family of the officer and find out the impact his murder has had on their lives.
خودت منم جوانم، 22 سالم، خیلی برام سخته. با یه بچه کوچیکم دارم، ولی مثلا الان درست نمیفهمه. خب ولی فردا پسر بزرگ بشه مثلا میفهمن برادرزادم صدای باباشون میگن بابا اینا مثلا داد میزنه جون به بابا مثلا به دایش. خیلی سخت. موقعی که دفنش کردن همش تو فکرش بودم. گفتم چجوری اون آدما چجوری دلشون اومده که یه نفر رو بکشن این جوونو.
Taha Haydaryan is linked to a separatist group called Harakatun Nizal, commanded by Habib Nebgan, who's based in Denmark. The terrorist operations of this extremist nationalist group since 2005 have left 22 people, most of them Arabs, killed and more than 300 others wounded. Apart from the lives of the people, the threat of terrorism has taken a toll on another aspect of life in Khuzestan, the economy. Fearing for their life and capital, investors have mostly shunned the province for years. It's a beautiful morning, and we're meeting with a group of very hospitable Arab-speaking sheikhs in Molasani, a village near Ahwaz.
انفجارهایی که در اهواز و حومه و مناطق نفخیز جنوب خوزستان انفجار کردن آثار تخریب پابرجاست. امنیت سلب شد از اینایی که میخوان ما رو نجات بدن. متوجه هستی ناامنیت به وجود آوردن و اینا به جز خرابی آبادانی برای ما ندارن.
The strategic alliance between extremist ethnic groups and the remnants of Iraq's former Ba'ath Party, who are still loyal to Saddam Hussein, to carry out joint terrorist operations on Iranian soil is what's given many a pause for thought.
اعتقاد داشتند که آقای حسنی مبارک میتونه براشون یک صدام دیگه ای باشه. با وجود اینکه از نظر دیدگاه ها کاملا با هم دیگه مخالف بودن. آقای صدام حسین سوسیالیست بود و آقای حسنی مبارک یک شخصی بود که مدعی دموکراسی و غیره. بنابراین دوستان یک بار از حالت سوسیالیستی به حالت دموکراسی تغییر وجه دادن، چون این اشخاص تابع ایدئولوژی خاصی نیستند و در واقع تا حدودی از افکار ماکیاولی تبعیت میکنن، یعنی به اصطلاحی ماکیاولیست هستند و اپورتونیست هم هستند. به دنبال کشور دیگری خواهند بود، الان تابع هر ایدئولوژی که باشه.
Hadi Rashidi was in charge of the armed wing of Al-Muqawamat al-Sha'biyah. His henchmen riddled 4 houses in the dead of night with live rounds. Their reason, the people inside, among them a teacher, a city council member, and 2 others, worked for the government.
شب تیراندازی ساعت 4 صبح قرار شد که ما تیراندازی کنیم به سمت منازل این 4 نفر. از اونجا حرکت کردیم، ما رفتیم به سمت منزل جاسم مقدم و رحمان زنگنه، تیراندازی کردیم. تیرها حدوداً به هر کدوم از درها حدوداً 6-7 تیر بود.
But what turns a person into a terrorist and makes them do the things they do? The captured terrorists themselves claim they have been brainwashed, that they were instilled with fear and lived an illusion created by their leaders based in countries such as Iraq, the US, Canada, and in Europe. But who is really to blame? Habib Nebgar, the head of Harakatun Nizal al-Arabi, lives in Denmark and is wanted by Interpol. Karim Abdian, a member of the Tazamun Party, a U.S. citizen. Adel Suwaidi, the head of the Al-Muqawamatul Wataniya. He lives in the Netherlands. Yasim Al-Qubayshi, a member of the Tazamun Party. He operates out of Denmark and was the contact between Abdul Malik Rigi, the former head of Jundullah, and Israel. Mahmoud Mazrae, the head of the Jebhaya Democratic, a UK citizen. Tahir Al-Ne'man, head of the Harakat al-Tahrir, lives in Canada. Ahmad Naisi, deputy head of Harakat al-Nizal al-Arabi, he lives in the Netherlands. And Salah Mazrae, head of the Jebhaya Democratic Melli Ahwazi, he lives in Britain. There is no proportional correlation between the terrorist groups that constitute the Al-Ahwazi network and the number of their members. The majority of them are made up of and run by only 5 people, but because they have access to several official state-run media worldwide, they have the means of painting a pretty picture of their actions to shift the public opinion to their own favor. At Ahwaz University, we talked to Professor of Mass Communications Zainab Sharifi about the role of the media in determining what people think, in this case, of terrorist groups and their actions.
وقتی پای رسانه ها وسط میاد و این گروه ها در واقع پایگاهی پیدا میکنن، میتونن اعمال خودشون و کارهایی که میخوان انجام بدن و از طریق رسانه بزرگنمایی کنن و یک جور ترس و وحشتی رو در دل مخاطب، در دل مردم ایجاد کنن. ضمن این که ممکنه این گروه ها چندان گروه های قوی نباشن و در واقع اگه ساپورت نشن خیلی هم ضعیف هستن، اما با تقویت همین شبکه ها اینا میتونن مخاطبین رو در واقع یک ترسی درشون ایجاد کنن.
News channels like the BBC, VOA, France 24, Al-Wasal, Al-Safa, and Al-Mustaqillah are among the several other networks tasked with portraying terrorist groups like the Al-Ahwazi as freedom fighters, a move that only serves to reinforce the feeling of illusion among the leaders of terrorist organizations and their adherents.
اصطلاح جنبش در واقع یک پشتوانه معنایی رو در خودش در بر داره که اون تایید گروهی و مردمیه. متاسفانه حرکت‌های و ارگان‌های مختلف اهوازی که خودشون رو تحت عنوان جنبش معرفی میکنند هیچ گونه تأیید مردمی ندارند و در واقع تنها از نام جنبش و اصطلاح جنبش برای در واقع روپوش گذاشتن روی خط مشی تروریستی و مسلحانه خودشون که هیچ گونه تأیید مردمی ندارن از اون استفاده میکنن.
There is a general consensus that the main culprit behind the creation and spread of that feeling of illusion among destructive and anti-human terrorist groups are governments who believe they can impose their policies on independent countries by classifying terrorists to good and evil and by adopting a selective approach in dealing with them.
کسایی که شوهر منو کشتن مثلا اینا فرمانبرن، فرمانده بهشون دستور میده که این کار انجام بدن. اینا فرمانبر مثلا هیچی نیستن تا فرمانده بهشون دستور مثلا حمایت فرماندم، کسی که از فرماندم هیچی نیست، کسی که از فرمانده حمایت میکنه مثلا همون فرمانده میاد از این فرمانبر حمایت میکنن که عکساشون رو تو روزنامه و تو تلویزیون نشانشون میدن که آره کار انجام داده. تا وقتی که پشتیبانشون قوی نباشه اونا هیچ وقت نمیان این کار انجام بدن. پس یه پشتیبان قوی از فرمانده آمریکا، اروپا دارن که این کار انجام میدن.